Karnak is the biggest temple complex in the world, covering an area of 100 hectares, and there is nowhere more impressive to the first-time visitor. Much of it was restored during the last century, and our knowledge of the buildings here in different periods of Egyptian history increases every year. In ancient times, Karnak was known as Ipet Isut, the most select of places. The temples are built along two axes, east-west and north-south, with the original Middle Kingdom shrine built on a mound in the center of what is now called the Temple of Amun. An avenue of ram-headed sphinxes leads the visitor towards the entrance. The sphinxes are fantastic beasts with the body of a lion and the head of a ram, a symbol of the god Amun. Through the entrance is the famous hypostyle hall. Standing among its 134 gigantic columns, the visitor can't help but be inspired by the grandeur of the place. The center 12 columns are larger, at 21 meters tall, and have open papyrus capitals which may have been intended to symbolize the original mound of creation. The other 122 columns are 15 meters tall and have closed capitals, perhaps representing the swamp that surrounded the mound. The hypostyle hall was begun by Amenhotep III, who built the side walls which close off the space between the second and third pylons. It was not completed until the reign of Seti I, who carved his beautiful raised reliefs around the walls of the northern half. His son, Ramesses II, completed the decoration of the southern half of the walls and pillars, often overcarving his father's reliefs with his own crude sunk relief carvings. Following a paved path along the side of the central court, the visitor comes to a building known as the Festival Temple of Thutmose III, anciently called Most Splendid of Monuments. The pillars inside the hall are said to imitate the ancient tent poles of a pavilion, unique in Egyptian architecture, and still show good remains of the colored decoration. Moving west, past the shrine of the gods' wives of Amun, we come to the open-air museum, which houses various blocks and reconstructed shrines found in other parts of Karnak. French archaeologists have spent the past few years rebuilding the chapel from the available blocks, a very difficult task due to the original construction techniques. On the other side of the Temple of Amun, to the south, the visitor comes to the sacred lake. The area in the foreground was originally a fowl yard, and the domesticated birds belonging to Amun were driven from here through a stone tunnel to the lake each day. Karnak can be a confusing place. Its buildings span a long period in Egyptian history. Most visitors on guided tours have very little time to see much of the temple, and many visits are needed to get even a brief idea of the temple as a whole.